Hello everyone, welcome to Sportive Mechanics. It's Nicholas. Today I'm presenting the Cupra Leon. I couldn't do it for you last time. I had shown you the Formentor, and so this is the new Leon. 2025 new style. I had already presented it to you in the studio, like the Formentor. It was the same day. I thought to myself, I'm going to take it, and I also wanted to try it in this version. 150 horses, let's start the test. The Cupra Leon, it sells quite well. It's based on the Seat Leon, which has also been released. But Cupra, now really its own brand. Previously, Leon Cupra models weren't the only sporty versions. Now they have their full lineup, but it's not limited to just sports cars anymore. For example, here we have the eTsi 150 horsepower, which we know very, very well. Within the Volkswagen group, which is on Skoda, Audi, Volkswagen Cupra, and Seat, but with the Cupra look, that's what interests me, especially it's this look, since it's actually a beautiful car. For me, and many others, the appearance accounts for 70% of the decision when choosing a car. It has to please us, and I don't necessarily have a sports car on a daily basis. If it had 300 horsepower, that could be cool, but for everyday, I don't need 300 horsepower. So to have the look of a 300 horsepower car. But with an everyday car that consumes reasonably, I find that rather interesting. This Leon, it measures 4 meters 40 in length. It also comes in a tourer version, the Sport Tourer version, which is the station wagon version, which will be 4 meters 66, so much longer, but also more practical for those who need it. It's a car that is 1 meter 80 wide by 1 meter 44 high, same dimension, than for the station wagon version. The advantage of the station wagon will just be a much larger trunk. Here we have 380 liters. The station wagon version, 620 liters. It does make a big difference. It also appears in this new color, which can be gray like this. I find it rather pretty. Is available in 9 colors. We have 9 choices of rims, is different. Between 18 and 19 inches, that's rather pretty. We can even have forged legs on the most sporty models. In terms of sporty versions, we will even have very sporty versions with more than 300 horses, with big brakes as well, in addition to specific rims. And also the more sporty engines, as we also find on the Golf R, for example. Available in 1.59 quarts eTsi microhybrid and mild hybrid plus, with this 48 volt version found here. We'll see what it's like on the road and in everyday use. There will be a 2-liter, 300 horsepower version, as well as a 2-liter turbocharged direct injection, 150 horsepower diesel version. The diesel offers the same power as this model, but with the advantages of diesel. And also the 1.5 eTsi, which is the same thing, but hybrid, which is a plug-in hybrid version with 204 or 272 horsepower. As we also find on the new Formentor, this will be the new battery of the group with a battery of 19.7 kilowatt hour, which is announced for 120 kilometers worldwide harmonized light vehicles test procedure. 120 kilometers. That's starting to be good. We've already tried it on the Tigane and Formentor. With SUVs, we can easily reach nearly 62 miles. If you're interested in my opinion on this hybrid, leave a comment and I'll redo the test. The hybrid version can be an interesting choice for a company car, allowing you to drive up to 62 miles on pure electric power. For everyday use, it would be even more pleasant, and above all, we can go up to 272 horsepower. The craziest thing is that even the 272 horsepower version can have big brakes and more. To have a sports car, we did it on the Terramar. I don't know if you saw the video of the Cupra Terramar at Terramar on the Autodrome circuit. That was very nice. The car's front has been thoroughly revised, beginning with the headlight units, which now feature 3 small triangles. The car has pleasant light emission at both the front and rear when approached. At night, the hood resembles previous designs, but the Cupra logo is repositioned. At the front, we have what they call a shark nose. It stands out and re-enters a bit like a shark's nose. Everything is painted on the car. It's rather well finished. Even every time we see it, we see a Cupra, we say it's cute, it's sexy. When I see a Cupra, I say it's true that it's cute. Under this hood, we can find a 1.5-litre gasoline, a 1.5-litre plug-in hybrid gasoline, 2-litre diesel or 2-litre gasoline.
The sportiest versions feature all the driving wings and travel assist. The new updates will include a large interior screen.
Everything evolves on.
This car, the mirrors, which are the same colors as the front grille, the small reminders on the sides, the fog lights. At this location, we can have lights with lenses. Matrix, in short, everything that is done on the car, it is more high-end now. On the side of choice, so either this more traditional car or the sport version, Tourer. The trunk will be extended by nearly 20 centimeters, while the wheelbase and other dimensions remain unchanged. It's just on the trunk that there will be a difference on the station wagon version. The side, a well-marked line which crosses, which starts from the light over there, which blends and then starts again to come on top of the lights. Here then, quite traditional fridge handles. We have the keyless, depending on what you have chosen. As soon as I approach, I can come and open the door directly. The mirrors that fold electrically, no chrome tour, but always black signature to bring this more sporty, more virile side. The blade, down there, which is also painted grey. Like the mirrors, like the reminders on the front parts, it's pretty nice. Rear window tinted long shark type antenna spoiler, here. I like that the Leon is noted here and won't be marked at the back. We now find in Cupra the names of the models marked only in the rear light blocks. It is no longer marked on the car. That's to make the Cupra brand more and more known. We say Cupra, 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 and it comes into your head. It's just marked there. Furthermore, the optics are well crafted, and I appreciate the current use of LED technology. On the back, there's a long spoiler, angled windows, wipers, and an extended light strip. So, the animation only happens when it's night. But we can see the long strip that lights up here, with the Cupra logo in the center, which is also lit. Everything is painted on the back, beautiful finish, always from Cupra noted at this place. And honestly, even with the small diffuser, I admit that it doesn't look bad. These are fake exhaust outlets. It's not very sexy to display real ones, but the exhaust is hidden just below. As a 1.59 quarts version, it's completely silent. The backup camera is located right there. And to open the trunk, we don't have a thing there. It's hidden right here at the level of the headlight, and I lift it up this way. So, I told you, 380/50. In these versions, for example, I have a helmet here, I find my equipment there. We have a double bottom, and this time with a spare wheel. Also here, with the box in the flat tire. And that's pretty cool because the sound is incredible in this car with the Sonos Chainizer. We have the bench that folds down in 40/80/40 with the ski hatch and the central corridor inside as well. Hop, do you know? What is that give? Look, it's passing. The Nico, I don't know, I touch. There is still space to store many items here. In short, for me, my daily use, this volume is enough for me. So, in terms of rear seats in this car, when I open it, I have a well-finished car. We have hard plastics on the top, but I have a kind of Alcantara here and faux leather. We have recycled materials inside now. The leather, it's the same. It's not really current anymore. The door presents quite well. The seats, I really like the small perforations that go through like that. And it's blue on the inside. Very pretty. I think if we had the blue car, it would be even nicer. So, the front seat is adjusted for me here. Look at the space I have. A lot of knee room. I still have space at the head level. I'm getting up. My headrest. The headrest is super comfortable. It's a pleasure to have a slightly soft headrest. I have knee room. I have foot room. I have an armrest here. I have an armrest on the other side. Honestly, we are good 4 people. We will be at the top in this Cupra Leon. I have air conditioning here, tri-zone, since it's a well-optioned version that I have today. 2 USB Type 100 ports for fast charging as well. The pockets in this place, the sports seats. The hatch that opens if I want to lower the bench, so the 2/3 part, right side. And I have an almost flat floor, we can say it's a flat floor, with top tether ISOFIX attachment on the 2 end seats. The belt, it stays roughly on the side almost. You have to fit it into its little thing there, and perfect, it was going to hide behind anyway. Yet they had planned a little thing for... Here's a large central tunnel, as it's present in a 4-wheel drive model. I'll step over it. Here, so it's much firmer, the backrest also, very firm feet. As it's rounded here, they should not have rounded it so much. So that I can put my feet there, so that I can stick them to the central tunnel, because if I put them on the central tunnel, you see that I can't make a journey. Under these conditions, I'm not flexible enough yet, I have space. For the knees, I still have space at the head. I have the 4 LEDs up here, I have a nice view of the front part, it's not bad at all. Come on, come discover the front. Go the little tour of the car, like that as usual. She really has beautiful shapes, beautiful lines. I really like this here that crosses here, plus the reminders. In reality, this color is atypical, and it changes things. I really like this front, which is quite aggressive. In fact, there is finesse and aggressiveness at the same time, because there is a bit of roundness, but at the same time, there are very tense lines. And what they call this shark nose, it's true that it brings a little side. With that, it almost looks like claws. It's rather nice on the side. These rims. I believe rims are the foundation of a beautiful car. A brand that makes stunning rims has won it all, in my opinion. And this rear with this little 3/4 rear, not bad. And these optical blocks, that's really pretty. There are these little LED slats there, the rear, the 3/4 back. The little side skirts. Come on, I'll take you inside. Discover, cover. There you go, it's soft. The doors then on the top. Here it's foamed. We have the integrated LED lighting here that will go around the cabin. Where did it go? It's also perforated, with the interior here in blue, the Sonoschneiser, the window and mirror controls. We're used to this in the group, they're the same. This part here is similar, like the handle and the plastic part. Very simple at this spot. We have the Cupra here, which is backlit with very nice little finishes. We have the electric seats, the electric and sport seats in addition, since these ones have exceptional support. Honestly, it's top of the top. It will directly occupy in the Alcantara. It's really nice with a beautiful effect and seats. There's also writing there. Sustainable material, that means basically recycled stuff, with always the little bronze over stitching like that. Just like the floor mats, it's the same. Recycled materials. Created in Barcelona, made in Spain, finally created in Spain. Big sports pedal set here with aluminum pedals. To cover at this place for the lights, those are the blocks. For the air conditioning, the steering wheel is adjustable in height and depth. And I'm gonna come and settle directly to show what it looks like here, the driver. I will immediately back off to the maximum. You can see the lit up orange things on the sides. That's to warn you that you've entered correctly and to be careful. The screensaver has also set down there, and look, when I start the car, this is what a screen looks like here. A large 13-inch screen on this side, 13 inches. That's more than enough. The beautiful Cupra steering wheel. It feels like having a bike, a vintage Ferrari steering wheel or an Audi RS3 or something like that. It's really great, a way to start the car. Now this button is no longer disabled. The SP, the modes here, which we can customize. So here, I can choose the little mode up there. So Cupra customized or standard, not Cupra. It's the race or sport mode, but I don't have the Cupra mode. This model features a 150 horsepower engine, along with driving wings and adaptive cruise control. With the distance, the volume here of the Sonos, which is very good quality, voice command, the views that I can scroll through this way to be able to have my counters, which displays differently. This one can be a bit more fun in sporty driving. I like the one with the double counters. We could then customize the left, center and right sections using keys that allow navigation between them. Shortcut to heated steering wheel. If changing music and scrolling through the info from the menus there, for example, I like to leave that instant console with my data in the middle of the big screen. This spot features wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, along with shortcuts. On top, to disable the beep, it's here. I press here, then speed alert. I go down once, I validate, and there it disables the beep for me. The speed signs, so that's pretty good, and I press again and it disappears then. There, that, you know, like a tablet, it's pretty nice. Dark background, I can have the widgets this way. Scroll with the consoles, for example. Since the start, I've done 6 kilometers only in town to get here. You shouldn't rely on that. We'll see the consoles during this trip. Then, my applications. The thing that is top of the top is the tone for the music that has been put here, with the equalizer, with the focus sound, with the studio and the settings. Here, if I want that, it's great to have a menu dedicated to the sound part, right here. Then, lighting, etc., the seats, the vehicles, in short, all the settings of a traditional car as well. The climate controls, with options for warmer and less warm, are illuminated at night. And the volume button in the middle, that's pretty good. Vent in the center, vent on the end. Down there, like on this side, it's quite symmetrical. But all of this is turned towards me. It's me, the driver. I'm the one who bought the car. Say hello to Dad, and everything is turned towards Dad here, or Mom, if you are a woman. Induction charger, dual USB-C port here for fast charging. This then, which is no longer started but removed, the electronic stability program, the parking box control here. And if I switch to drive, I pull towards me. I pull a second time, I switch to sport. Over there, the auto hold, the parking brake, and the vehicle lock will be set back.
Here, double cup holder with this corridor that lifts up, quite simple cup holder, small can, large can, and here inside a storage with a USB port.
It's the same corridor that moves forward and back while also allowing height adjustment or lowering all the way down. The seats, so that I showed you them down there. The door has a fairly simple interior and at the same time loaded. I don't know if you see what I mean. There are a lot of things, actually. There are a lot of little details, and that makes it simple. But the impression of having a lot of things at the same time. And I didn't talk about the paddles behind the wheel either. To shift those gears, we find some textured, foamed on the top with the top stitching. In short, everything is quite nice. And when I start the car, hop, foot on the brake, hop, it's off, it's started. So here, I don't have the strip here because it's not night. Otherwise, we have a strip that crosses the entire interior, and it's pretty nice.
Let's test this car and evaluate its performance, handling, fuel efficiency, and highway driving. Do you recognize me?
All right, let's go aboard this Cupra Leon eTsi, 150 horses. Drive, I switched to sport. I was in drive, let's go. Enhanced micro hybridization, so micro hybridization plus MHV. Who is on these new ones has been seated and is worth. 2 is normally quite pleasant to use on a daily basis. Also, when we're going to slow down, it's going to cut the engine very quickly. Like there, for example, at the slightest braking request, it cuts the engine well ahead of the total stop phase. We have a comfortable car. 150 horses, that's enough for the daily life of the couple. We have comfort in this car. The same one there on the cobblestones, when I barely feel the cobblestones. And I admit that it's still really not bad double in axed air. There is responsiveness, there is torque, there is power. It's a simple everyday car, it's not the most powerful, and there are much more powerful versions with 333 horsepower. If I'm not mistaken, but for everyday use, this 1.5, I think it's ideal. You can barely hear it. It does the job very well. For example, just the act of releasing the pedal. It has already cut the engine all this phase here. I do it in electric, and at a stop, it's a start and stop as we are used to. In fact, it's almost a real hybrid, almost, except that then there isn't the side where it runs a lot on it. We know this engine well. We tried it on almost all the cars in the group. For the city, we hear it a little bit, so there is a minimum engine presence in the cabin. Then the car is well soundproofed for the outside. But the fact that it's a Cupra, we also like to have a little bit of its engine, so I think it might be done on purpose too. Afterwards, there are those modes, so they didn't activate that mode to find at some places where there is really more sound. We should find it in the menus, but it's best to use it in standard mode to not consume too much. As usual, I initialize my counters to give you an idea of the console. In fact, in the Paris region, we will do some journeying and visit cities. I'm going to use it daily, a little bit like work, basically. I was supposed to go on a long journey, but a small problem means that I unfortunately can't. For those who follow Instagram, and thanks to everyone who asked for news. So from Ardan, you can feel a certain firmness in the car. You can feel that on the dynamic side, in my opinion, it's going to be nice.
But it's not uncomfortable either, because all the little anomalies are really well filtered.
Here, for example, I'm purposely going through the holes. It's really not uncomfortable, given the size of the rims and the car that seems rather dynamic. Me, I like it personally, I like it. So when I'm in traffic like this, the ideal car. The ring road speed limit is now 31 miles H. Thanks, Madame Hidalgo, we're thrilled. However, I am happy because my car has all the driving aids and it drives me, so it de-stresses me a lot. Because being at 50, I admit that it's stressful. It's more annoying than anything else. In the end, while I still have to put the blinkers on, it's her who adapts, so she had a little trouble. Because we are a bit close, you always have to keep control of your car, but finally, that we are settled in our lane, I've been letting myself be driven since earlier. Being in Paris, even leaving Paris to go to the ring road. An average of 9.5 that consumes only briefly in stop-and-go city driving, you know. Mrs. Hidalgo ensures we go to 30, where it consumes the most on first and second, and a little less at 50. The ideal is to drive at 70, 80, that's when the car consumes the least. But, well, politicians don't necessarily think about everything, so it makes it consume more and we pollute even more, due to all the narrowed lanes and similar factors. Anyway, we're not here to have a political debate, but there you go, me, my driving wings, the assisted work. Since it exists, since I discovered it, I am really too happy as a person. Because it works super well, it's comfortable, it's pleasant, it's relaxing. We stress less on the panels, etc. Some cars have panel reading, allowing them to automatically adapt to the appropriate speed. While it's not always bad, there are still many bugs because France has far too many signs. I think it's one of the worst countries in France, with all the little streets, the little things, the dodans. 30? No, 30, too much. 30, 50, too much. 30, 70, 110, 130, 90, hop on 130, there is 90. Well, there are always little things, you know, behind the wheel. In any case, I love it every time. I'm so well supported. The car seems light, it's pleasant, the fact that it's a small engine, that it's a four-wheel drive, etc. That contributes to the pleasant experience. And I notice it's beginning to roll slightly. I'm already going to lose a liter of consumption per 100, because the more it rolls, the better it is. That's where we consume the least. So now, it's still 50. It's a speed when you're a good cyclist at the time. Sometimes I was riding at 50 when I was motivated, with a good road bike. Oh my god, traffic jams. Why is it jammed there? It can never be there. Usually, I get driven, the car really takes care of it, it's a real plus, with in addition the capacitive steering wheel. I recommend the driving aids. Clearly, there are a lot of people who, yeah, no, I don't like it. In fact, you get used to it once you get used to it. Removing them, it's hard. Come on, it starts rolling, I restart, I'm in powerful enough drive, I'm barely halfway pedal. I'm going to put it to 90 directly, 97. As soon as I press the button, hop, it's off again. Adaptive regulator, all that at 90 kilometers per hour. I'm on a slight incline, so the engine is under some strain. I'm at 1,800 revolutions per minute in 7th gear. So the engine always tries to stay as low as possible in the revs to consume as little as possible. We also have a small electric assist, which allows us to stay low in the revs. And when needed, the electric motor of the alternator starter comes to help. Compensate with, it seems to me, an additional 20 horsepower in the small phases where there is really a need to be able to help precisely. Then, when we brake a little later, it will slow down with the wheels. And precisely this expectation of a starter that will recover energy. And it recharges each time, a little bit like that. At 90 kilometers per hour, it's quite pleasant. No wind noise, the engine is super quiet, I have a bit of rolling noise. I slightly hear what's happening on the sides. But when I put on music with this sound oceanizer, honestly, as I told you last time, it's top of the top. I really like the music from Schneider. In the Terramar, I found it incredible. It really blew me away. And even here, in this Leon, honestly, very, very good audio system. And I really like music, and honestly, I like it a lot. I lost another liter, now at 1.98 gallons in the center. The more we drive, the better it gets. For example, I press very lightly, only on the accelerator, and it shows me here that I am in 2-cylinder mode. It costs me 2 cylinders out of 4 to consume less, so it still works well. When I release like this, it goes into freewheeling, cutting off the engine. For example, at 31 miles h, the engine is cut off and it's the same. It's full of little phases like that which will make it reduce consumption. And even on small rolling phases like that, in sort of town or on the outskirts of the town, and it will play a little bit. The start and stop functions well, which is nice. However, it restarts when I turn the air conditioning back on. It's starting to get hot today with the sun. We'll do a little 0 to 50 right after. I have the auto hold, which allows me not to have my foot on the brake pedal at the light. That remains a plus. And we have a little fun start. Go full throttle. It's slipping a bit, BAM 53. pretty responsive. There, he stays high because he says, hey, you're upset, I'm going to play with you. And that, he calmed down. We're driving at 50, that's life. And off we go. The road is free. I also like it because I anticipate, I release before, I brake gently to get to the light, not at the end, like that, like an idiot. It allows me to be able to drive, anticipate. I like the free roll, that's why I also like electric ones. I accelerate a little and let myself drift a small part of the night. I like to do it when I can. Hop car lighting. Everything starts, the lights you saw, with thing that goes up and down. In short, all really not bad. Here we go, so we have the automatic lights. Everything is going well, this not.
The atmosphere, of course, we can also customize it if we wish.
So, the more I drive, the more the consumption decreases. There, I found myself around Fontainebleau, average, at 6 liters too. There's just one little thing I find a bit special. It's when I brake, sometimes the pedal's a bit too biting.
I will find.
I'm picking up here what there. I'm in a wedding convoy, it picks up quite correctly. At 90, that it's 90 target on a piece of round. But driving, as usual, it's too beautiful. With all the birds flying away, I love the fields. At 90 kilometers per hour, I'm in 7th gear at about 1700 revolutions per minute. Very discreet engine. It always remains quite discreet. Rolling noise that comes up a little bit in the cabin, but it remains relatively correct. Saturday, in instant consumption, 4.3, there, you're almost flat. Lisa. The engine remains relatively accurate, and most importantly, we know that it can achieve excellent fuel efficiency. When we practice eco-driving, we drive at 84 or 55.93 miles h, especially on small country roads. Very, very degraded here. And as I am equipped with the TCC, well, the TCC at Volkswagen in the Audi, Cupra, Seat, Volkswagen, Skoda group, it's the same thing every time and it's always very comfortable. And the advantage of the DCC is that even in comfort mode, we can keep a lively car, and that's the real advantage. I frequently drive sports cars here, and it bounces significantly. In this case, I believe it performs excellently. For example, even at my pace, when I'm going to go from left to right, the car will always stay extremely flat. I kept all the comfort I need. In fact, it's an excellent mix, the perfect combo of comfort, precision and sportiness. If there's a need for good, and if I boost, then there, even in comfort mode, it boosts enough. It feels so good that... Near the end of October, we've had little sun this year. The big hole here, as usual. It absorbs well, retaining some firmness in the comfort more than others, as it's still set up in the Cupra way with the same comfort level. And it still needs to have a somewhat dynamic chassis. It remains a Cupra, it has the style, but it also needs to have the cornering behavior. We arrive at my favorite secluded spot where there's no one around, so I stop. I have my auto hold on. I'm going to switch here to sport mode. It puts the gearbox in sport mode and the map at full throttle. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 and 100. That's more than enough. 150 horses for daily use is sufficient. And there, this time, as I switched to sport mode, I had a slightly different feeling, even at the steering wheel level, at the suspension level. This time it's firmer, dampens differently, but it's still very strong. It's quite pleasant. I can also play with the gearbox in manual, switch back to drive if I finally want to in auto. Or even put it back in pieces so it doesn't push on board too much, but like having the sport engine mapping, but the box in normal mode. We can really play individually. I will be able to adjust this as well to have a car really as I wish. Well, and if we see what it gives in really dynamic, accelerate well there, put the sport mode, see what it gives. It holds the road well. It's pleasant at the steering wheel level with a good feeling of lightness. Really, of course, boss, the room's super comfortable. It's real guilt. Sorry for my tripod that's rolling around in the trunk. In terms of braking, the braking is very aggressive, I find. Yet, we don't have the big Accabono or Brembo braking. We just have a basic braking. It's very aggressive and bites well. The car holds up super well in the seats. I'm held, but like in a real sports car, it's quite impressive. We have the big braking. It brakes rather well. The car stays extremely flat. It looks like a real sports car. The decrease triggers as it should without too much impact on the pedal. It's quite pleasant, frankly very nice. It doesn't necessarily offer that much feedback, but I find that we still go quite fast and it's rather pleasant. We're having fun actually, but without really feeling like a sports car. The lack of an engine means no sound. However, the chassis is incredibly efficient. And if we try a little more sporty, the downhill braking in support, it remains super stable. It drives well, as we don't have too much power. Precisely, it doesn't necessarily tire.
The JAS is really very, very good, frankly. It's really very, very hot, frankly.
Super sharp. In fact, the front train, from the moment you start to mishandle it, really much stronger. Still, the rear really stays on the ground. Quite impressive. Really? The violence is actually to slightly take the rear. The rear really takes a bit by slightly releasing the brakes. But it's only at that moment, in fact, that we can roll a little bit. But before reaching this limit, you have to go when... Even so, with a very good chassis, it must be quite nice on small mountain roads. Okay, I'm getting on the highway, so go ahead. I'm going to merge. I'm going to go up to 130. You are entering a direct control zone, so the engine that can push like this. We can still see the meter. We are entering a 130 zone. I'm going to set it to 130. As usual, I press my little travel assist button at 130 kilometers per hour. I'm in 7th gear. I'm at exactly 2,400 revolutions. Now I'm back on a flat area. It's even a slight small climb. The engine is rather quiet, light, wind noise on the sides, but it's still relatively correct. I can hear the engine running at 2,400 revolutions, but it's not bothersome. The rolling noises are rather well contained there. On this button, let's say that the wind noises mask a little bit. If it needs to be relaunched, they relaunch quite well without too many ramparts. Very pleasant. She takes the goods well. The turns, it's rather going to make me want to hit the road. And when I put myself there, the sound system in this car is honestly very good. I've mentioned it before, but I'm emphasizing it again because the Schneider audio is top notch. Well, I take advantage of it like this. I'll take you back. There's a little bit at 110. Well, I'm not going to do the little bit at 110 right away. That will be done. She gave us back at 110. 112,100 revolutions per minute, a little bit below 2,100 revolutions per minute. Less wind noise right away. It's rather pleasant. I can barely hear what's happening around me. Northern consumption is going down and it's going up a little bit. It's not really place. It's rare for a road to be really, really flat at 110 like that. We've already gone up to Saturday 5.55. For now, the average is still at 6 litres 3 over 78 kilometers. In Sagra, it's a car that entices you to drive, even on smaller roads. It's pleasant as it's quite dynamic, as we observed. I just did exactly 100 kilometers with an average of 1.61 gallons per 100 kilometers, mainly in the city. There was a small amount, as you saw, about 1.61 gallons. That seems reasonable for this car. It's pretty good. So, as you've seen, it goes up more when we're in the city, like all cars, because it's not a real hybrid, but it still makes some small savings. Here, for example, I'm freewheeling. All these little aspects are quite interesting, and I admit that I quite like this freewheeling. It also brakes automatically at times, such as when arriving at a city entrance as soon as the foot is released. A kind of somewhat predictive regulator remains rather good every time we stop, start and stop, etc. So clearly I think it's really good. I really like this engine. Clearly, if we're not looking for something sporty but ideal for everyday use, it's very pleasant to use. Every day. Just the brakes, or sometimes I struggle. It's super aggressive, done at the start of the pedal. Well, so I'm coming to the end of this test with this Cupra Leon eTsi 150 horsepower. So, what's our take on it for daily use? I think it's an excellent car, enjoyable to drive and comfortable. Since I have the DCC, so it means that I have a controlled suspension and it radically changes things. This car, it can make it quite compliant, but at the same time lively and sporty when we want. In terms of chassis, nothing to say for daily use. I could just say that when I stop at a light, I accelerate, for example, to get away from the light, so it's a bit brutal. I would like a little more flexibility and the bite of the Wii. In fact, every time I hit my teeth on the steering wheel, the brake pedal may be much too sensitive. In fact, at the very beginning, nothing happens. Otherwise, you really have to measure it, but very, very slightly. That's the small criticism I could give it. So I have a consumption of 6 litres, 3 over 227 kilometers, that 2 Parisian regions. Well, Mustang, that's beautiful. The 5.8s, the big 5 litres, so look, hop, I put it there. Level conso on 5 hours, 48 of use. So, Parisian region, small peripheral walk, and others. I bring it back to Paris at the Invalides. Good car. Honestly, I really like it. The look is very nice. The interior is top, easy to use. Not much to say. The seats hold up very well. Very good support, even the seats. A simple 4-cylinder. I was maybe expecting a little less in terms of consumption, given what I did afterwards. If we only take the small country roads, it might decrease a bit. But for everyday use, I find it quite pleasant. I'm taking it back now. I wanted to give you a little debrief after having driven a bit more. So here it is. 230 kilometers in the Paris region. That's a few days of use, and in the end, the car is quite pleasant. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. And then, I'll see you soon for the next winter tests. Now, who starts to make brother.